to point out that this portion of Torah, which is Hukat, or the constitution of Torah, which means what in it, in Torah, meaning in this particular light, acts as a verdict, as something that is cutting through. Is cutting through the differences, or the line that usually is a demarcation line between life and death. So it speaks about, when we speak about constitution, we are sort of prepared to hear a set of, or a list of conditions, or a set of laws. And instead we are introduced into a red cow, some sort of a ceremony which is in our mind borders with sort of almost paganic so behavior, or what we consider to be rituals, and yet that's just the features of it, of this creature, which is to do with sort of epitomize life in its redness and in its capability of giving birth, and in its sort of being untouched, pristine. There is a pristineness to this red cow, and what we are actually doing with her and her is very paramount in the description. Being feminine is actually slaughtering her, burning her, and doing all this outside of the tabernacle, in front of the tabernacle, facing, meaning having in mind that this is to be in a way a preparation for some substance that, if we will add to it live water, it will be it will have in it the power of purification. Now, we need to remember that the father of all impurity is death. So this life that is represented in the red cow, the process that it goes through, we extract from her life the power of purifying ourselves from death. And yet, everyone who deals with the process of preparing it need to purify himself, or most probably himself, from being in touch with that. So it seems that we're walking on a liminal line that is to do with passing from state to state, how actually death becomes a preparation or a purifier for a true vital life. Okay. So basically, this is how we enter the story, or the portion, which, as we were instructed by the Zohar, it's never a description of a particular story, it's a story of a generality of an attitude, or a generality of a law or a constitution. So we have to see that we're speaking in this portion, where it's a portion of us bidding goodbye and sort of parting from Miriam and parting from Aaron, and actually we start to see that the power is moving from leadership to community. So it's the death of a certain generation and certain leadership that actually gives life to a generality or communality of spirits. Okay. So this is basically to do as well with the month that we are in, which is to do with Tammuz, which, as some of you might know, it's actually a name of an idol, a Babylonian idol, that the description of it, the description of its character is death and resurrection. And it is in the summer, in the end of everything that gives itself as fruit for the life, not of itself, but for the life of others. So we're trying to tie a very, and say it's a very evasive line that we will try to see how is it possible to set it as a description of something that is a life process in us, what should die in us in order to give life to a true life, okay, to a true living. Okay. So if we look at a storyboard, one can say, or the revelation of this portion of Torah, we see that, and we are introduced to this ceremony that actually cannot be actualized in corporate life, because we don't have a tabernacle, we don't have a temple, we don't have, well, I know they try, we don't have red cows. Red cow, it means that it's pure red, not even one one white or black hair in it. No yoke. That was not yet. Yeah. So it's something that is introduced to us as an inner ritual, one can say, an inner ceremony of being able to part from and to purify ourselves. But while we are dealing with our will to receive, we might find, if we dwell in it, or we are sorry for it, or we are in sort of we identify ourselves with the pain of its losing power, it will impurify us. So we'll become, again, we'll have to separate from it. So the separation from it allow this process to actually move us as it moved this community of spirit to cross, or to be able to now, after 40 years, meaning being 40 years is always a description of a full process of embryo becoming a fetus, being born into a reality that it can perceive, because we hear in this portion that they value the place and they want to go to the place that was sort of their mission. It's a different generation. This is why actually we see that one can see the sin of Moses and Aaron is treating them like before, like something that you need to hit or to demonstrate by force. The understanding. It's like Moses cannot separate himself from the perception of the Israelites, that the maturity of the spirit that came out of Egypt, with the maturity he cannot reconcile in himself the difference of the generation that stands before him. So in a way, it is a sign as well for himself that he is not the right leadership to enter Israel, nor him, nor Aaron. So the point that Moses is going to ascend or to separate from us means that truly his value can shine in us now, in each one. So we can incorporate the value, and what is the value? The value that we can dress ourselves and others with the priesthood, meaning with a mission of reformation, of being able to serve in sanctuary and in sanctity. And what is sanctity? In its pure essence, sanctity is to do with life. Life is sacred. So Moses has to go through undressing Aaron, because he dressed him with a mission. So when he undressed him, he's taking, one can say, the ecology or the dress of the spirit. And then the Creator takes the spirit. So it seems like a last demonstration of how we are able to dress the gift of the point in the heart, the spirit. And then when it's time to separate it, we become, one can say, eternal. Because as the Creator collect the spirit unto himself or herself, unto itself, if we identify with the spirit, he actually takes us. Okay? So then we can see that we can send now spies or to tour the higher realms with a different attitude of, we know that we're not walking alone. Yeah. If we walk truly to fulfill the mission, with a will to fulfill the mission, something will dress us as priests, and something will take us into itself, or collect us into itself. And this is the way that we see that first Moses will send spy, and then Israel will send spy. But till the end of Reformation, we will not know all the names of that klipa, because if we know its name, we can control it, so we will not be able actually to go through the process of really willing to reform. And this is why when Jacob is struggling with Samael, with the ruler of Klippa, he does not give him its name, his name, because it is for the end of Reformation. And the end of Reformation means that there will be an opportunity and a possibility for its spark of spirit to be collected, to be drawn into its source, into the Creator, by its will. Okay. So, is there any question in relation to it? Because I would not like to open anything new. Okay. So I would like to read to you something from Zohar if there is no questions. Okay. So Hukat is one can say it's a very subtle utterance on a verge of something. It's on a verge of summing up across a threshold and a preparation of how to cross it. So, because now we have to understand why it is so sweet. So if you if you open Zohar Hukat, I would like to read the first verse of Zohar Hukat. It's called "This is the ordinance," or "This is the constitution of the Torah." Okay. What is the distinction between Torah and ordinance, or one can say the constitution of Torah? And Hashem spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "This is the ordinance of the Torah which Hashem had commanded." Rabbi Yosei opened the discussion saying, "And this is the Torah which Moses set before the children of Israel." This appears, now we are in the desert, in a different state. When we will meet, this is the Torah, it will be already in the last speech of Moses to Israel, which is in the book of Dvarim. So he's asking, what is the difference between this is the ordinance of Torah, and this is the Torah. Yeah, and this is the Torah that Moses set. Come and behold. So by setting the differences, there is an opening. By setting the difference between the generation that has been born already in the desert, ready for its mission, and the generation that came out of Egypt, what is the difference? How differently they perceive Torah? What is the difference in their perception of that illumination that is called Torah? Okay. So, and when we see the difference, very inside, seeing the difference, like when we see the difference between the will to receive in Lo Lishma and what we are called for, which is Lishma. Only when we see the difference, we can come and see and come and behold. Can you see what I'm saying? So come and behold is because we see the difference. So what is the difference now between the ordinance or constitution of Torah and Torah? Come and behold. The words of the Torah are holy, lofty, and sweet. As it is written, more to be desired are they, the words of Torah, than gold, then one can say than the pleasure of the will to receive, and much fine gold, and sweeter also than honey, sweeter than honey. So this is the one can say that the taste is we can see the meaning, yeah, the meaning that becomes a nourishment for the spirit. So why Rabbi Yosei is seeing this and these differences? Because the true Torah can actually be given after the ordinance had prepared, the ordinance of Torah, which means the verdict of Torah had worked upon us, had acted upon us. It means that now naturally we are ready to with a true will to receive in order to bestow. This is where, and like from the natural constitution of the of the parts of the spirit would come naturally. What would come out of it is Torah. They would enact Torah, a true constitution of spirit enacts Torah. So actually the revelation or the giving of Torah should have been in Israel when we are up in Atzilut. But since we were so far away and in danger of losing any possible connection with the higher, Torah was given in the desert. But now we are coming into appreciating the sweetness that the spirit can enact of itself, of Torah. It is as if whoever studies the Torah stands every day at Mount Sinai and receives the Torah. This is the natural state of a spirit. In its place, when it is in its place, in its right ecology and identity, it's like a person standing every day at the Mount Sinai and receives Torah. Not only that it's being given to him, is able to receive. This is what it says. This day, you are become a people. This day, you became, one can say, or you are becoming all the time a people. I mean, this is now a generation as well in ourselves. Then we can say now through the study or through the constitution of our spirit, we become people. and the friend have already set the explanation. How they set the explanation? By constituting the gathering of the Zohar, of Chavurat HaZohar. They understood it and constituted in themselves. Okay. This is